Hello, all my ERC marathon runners. I'm just putting together a wee video here to get you prepared for your spring marathon, whether you're running Manchester, London, Boston, maybe you're doing Belfast. Probably more is doing Belfast than any. But so we're about 3 to 4 weeks out. What are the types of things you should be doing? The first thing is make sure you've got at least one, preferably two race day rehearsals. So all of the gear that you're going to be wearing on race day, right down to the shoes and socks, sports bra, top, shorts, everything. If you're wearing a gel belt, a vest, anything and everything, give it a test. Make sure you're able to get your gels out of your uh, vest or shorts or wherever you're going to be carrying them. Practice opening your gels and taking them while on course. Those types of things are the things we tend to forget about, but they're important that they are spot on and they're working. The next thing as we're coming into your taper is to make sure you're prioritizing good rest and recovery. You're taking the rest days when they say to take a rest day. Planning your meals, make sure you're planning good protein intake now, and change that a little bit in the last week towards a little bit more of a carb focused nutrition. So I highly recommend you stay away from any of this carb loading stuff that you've been hearing about. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. If you've been training this whole training block by eating a specific number of calories per day, don't all of a sudden triple it and try to get 800 grams of carbs in a day. You're just going to spend the day in the portaloos. So the common saying is the more you carb load, the more you have to carb unload, and that is not what we're looking for. Keep things similar to what you've done throughout the training block. I would suggest you maybe slightly lean things a little bit more towards carbs in the last week, especially the last 3 or 4 days, but don't overdo it. Keep it within reason. If you're fueling with other things other than gels, make sure you have tried and tested them. The only other thing I would say is hydration. Be hydrated all day, every day. Far better state to be in than trying to get all of your hydration on the course. If you show up on race day well hydrated, that puts you in a much better place for finishing this race without experiencing dehydration. And it gets your body well used to being well hydrated. If it is going to be a warm day, make sure you're planning your electrolytes. I would stay away from anything. Yeah, I've done the salt shots and things like that before, but unless it's going to be up into the 20s, I would stick with electrolyte tablets. They have everything you need. You're not going to need a ton on race day. So with 1 week to go, some of the things that I would concentrate on is make sure you have scheduled your sports massage within the last 2 weeks. Try not to get that done in the last couple of days before the marathon. Give yourself a couple of days to recover from a sports massage, particularly if you're experiencing niggles and things and you need an area looked at. Ideally, it'll be within 14 to 7 days out. Do your toenails. Make sure your toenails are filed down within that last week. Don't leave that for 2 days before. I would, if it is going to be a couple of days before you remember to look at them, I would use a file and not toenail clippers. You don't want to risk cutting them too short because that can be painful. Pacing. It depends on how important this race is to you, whether I would go with a pacer or not. If it was a really important race for me, I would probably stay away from a pacer. You just don't know how they're going to run it. You'd be far better off going with what you know, which is yourself. I would set my watch to average overall pace. My mile splits, yeah, they're important, But what I'm running right now, my current pace is completely irrelevant, right? Look at your average overall pace. That'll give you a much better idea of what your finishing time is going to be as you continue down the road, because you know what your average pace needs to be. Count on running a little bit beyond 26.2. I would say 26.5, 26.6 would be a reasonable measurement, or a reasonable distance that you would expect to run for a marathon, particularly on the bigger ones where you're going to be weaving in and out, and you're never ever going to run the 26.2 line. Most races don't have the line painted on the road anyway, so you'll not know. So whatever pace you need to run for, say, 26.5, that's what I would be targeting on my overall average pace on the watch. What happens in the first couple of miles? So we tend to get out a little bit fast or a little bit slow. If there's a lot of congestion, we may find ourselves a little bit behind in our average overall pace. Or if the flow is going really quickly, you may find yourself going a little bit quicker than your target pace. Don't worry about your first couple of miles. The first 2 miles are not going to make or break your marathon, right? So don't get too worried about it. Find your rhythm as soon as you can. If you find yourself at miles 3 and 4 and you're in a nice rhythm, that's a really good sign for you getting through the 26.5 miles comfortably, right? So that's the objective, is to get into a nice rhythm, a nice flow. Your steady pace in your training should be what you can maintain over the distance. If you've done a lot of 20 milers and you've got that speed endurance, that real marathon endurance, then your steady pace should get you there without a problem, and you should find that comfortable. That is where you need to reevaluate after about 7 or 8, 9 miles, 10 miles. How are you feeling? If it's feeling a lot like work, you may want to go into plan B and dial it back a little bit. Maybe it's just a blip. Maybe you will get through that, but that's a time to reevaluate and think, okay, I'm going to take maybe 10 seconds per mile off of what I'm doing now, because if it's uncomfortably hard, that's unsustainable, right? And adjustments may need to be done. And then if you do find you've got a second wind, pick it up a little bit down the road, but get yourself into a nice comfortable rhythm. Marathon running is all about rhythm and smooth pace, right? So just feeling good. Yeah, make sure you get to the start line early. I can't tell you how many times I thought I was getting to the start line early and ended up panicking, or you're standing in the lines for the portaloos for ages, and you just don't have the time to get everything done, get your drop bag in. I've left gels in my drop bag. I've left hats and gloves and things that I wanted to put in the drop bag on me. And as long as you get to the start line early, you have time to prepare and not panic about these things. So make sure you're very well prepared. If you're staying away the night before, now is the time to start thinking about making a reservation, or at least knowing that you can get the meal that you want to get at the time you want to eat. You want to be practicing your race the evening before race day meal now, and you want to have that ready for the night before the race, especially if it's a big important one for you. The same with your breakfast. The breakfast before, make sure you're able to get the breakfast that you typically eat before your marathon. And so it's all about morning prep, evening prep, making sure you're prepared for everything. Another thing to keep in mind is the expo. If you go into a major marathon, you will find that they have an expo, or if you're traveling to another city, you may find that you're on your feet a lot the day before. My tip, don't be, right? Stay off your feet as much as possible. If you're going to London, do the London stuff after the marathon. If you're going to Manchester, do the Manchester stuff after your marathon. If you're going to Boston, do the Boston stuff after the marathon. If you are doing Boston, there's a really good park run in Boston. It's the Jamaica Pond Park Run in Jamaica Plain. Fantastic park run, by the way, if you get a chance to do it. Right. The only last thing I would say is treat yourself, right? Much like a job interview, when you look good and you feel good, you're going to run good, right? So get your hair done, get your nails done, get a facial, guys, go do something, get your hair cut or whatever. But look after yourselves and treat it as if it's a job interview, right? Feel confident. In the weeks leading into the marathon, if your training has gone well, make sure you're reminding yourself that my training has gone well. I am a whatever. I'm a 3:30 marathon runner. I'm a 4:30 marathon runner. I'm a 2:45 marathon runner. Whatever it is that you've trained for, make sure you're reminding yourself over and over and over again that you can do this. You're strong enough. You're capable. You've trained for it. Your training has gone well. You're strong. That kind of mental preparation is really important. Visualize it. Listen to the crowd as you're crossing the finish line in your head now, and do this over and over again. So mental prep, really important. Other than that, I can't think of anything else I can offer you other than wishing you good luck. Can't wait to see how you all get on. And I will see many of you over in London in about 3 weeks' time. All right, all the best. Good luck.